Brodes Media.
I joke around a lot about this team's identity being a team that we are going to despise for 85% of the game, but then win. So we need to shut our yap, all right? We need to relax, and we got to realize that they are a good football team that will manage to win no matter what, because Saquon Barkley will not be denied. There is another element to this, though, that I eventually get to throughout the vomit of my shows, but I want to start out hot and heavy with it. And a real reason why they are able to accomplish their goal each week is they wear you the fuck down. They really do. They wear you down. Look at how that offensive line imposes their will by the end. That fourth quarter, go look at the box score and look at how many points is getting blasted into the end zone in the final frame. You just got to keep giving Saquon the ball. And with 20 plus carries, there's no way in hell that he doesn't break through and start to really collect yards, really start to bring it home for the Birds. And because your offensive line, Myalata back, which was a big upgrade, Landon Dickerson plays through everything. He gets injured 3 plays into the game. And then here's Landon Dickerson again. Just, looks like he's going through the motions, but he is whooping your ass. The amount of times you hand the rock off to 2-6 and the grind that the defense has to go through to try and stop him with the power of this O-line, it is going to be enough. And more so than just enough. But it's going to be absolutely crushing, soul crushing, if you're the defense trying to compete with that for the length of 4 quarters. Maybe the defense has some answers for quarter 1. Maybe the defense has some answers for quarter 2. When we play out the game in its entirety, by the end, it's so overwhelming, you can't do anything about it. And that's sort of where I fit right now with this football team, or where I stand with this football team right now. I understand why some watched that game and watched a good portion of this season, and they wonder if the quarterback is going to hold them back. You may feel like this team is ready to go fight for a Super Bowl. And with the way the quarterback played on Thursday night, it may stop them from getting there. And I get that. Look, Jalen was bad. Jalen was bad. And what I'm not going to do is look at one run when he extends his arm to the first down marker and think that that's enough to override all of the struggles and all of the really bad throws. You either get MVP Jalen or what the fuck is this Jalen? That seems to be how this goes on a week-to-week basis. Now, even with those what the hell is this Jalen type of games, by the fourth, similar to the whole Saquon will break through concept, there are times where it's really bad and really ugly, but if he gets an opportunity in the fourth for one play that needs to be made, I do think he does make it. I do think he'll find Dallas Goedert for a monster gain down the right side, even though the fumble occurred and Calcaterra with zeros all across the box score somehow has one of the biggest games for this club. He does make it happen. That's not the part I want to focus on, though. The last thing I want to do is diminish the importance of the quarterback, right? I don't want to make it seem like it doesn't matter if your quarterback does struggle and does look weak. I got to be honest, though. I feel so different about it because of how good Saquon Barkley is. And I know it's not normal. From a very broad way of talking about football, is your quarterback elite? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, you can win a Super Bowl. If the answer is no, then you're going to probably come up short. Very easy way to discuss the sport. So this isn't traditional. This isn't standard. This does not fit the narrative for pretty much every single team. But I wonder if it's worth my time getting angry and getting upset about Jalen and if he's holding this offense back, knowing that you have Saquon Barkley. I think he's that incredible. I really do. I think he's that sickening. If you're on the other side of the field, knowing he's just constantly getting the ball and running it down your throat, that may be enough to actually be significant if your quarterback is having an off day. Because this passing game, outside of a few games, it hasn't really lived up to my expectations. I still talk to everybody over at the other station, right, that I worked at previously. And me and Tyrone were texting during one of the games. And I tweeted something out about how it's not really living up to what I think the standard is. And I forget which game this was, but he shot me a text. He's like, dude, what are you, nuts? They scored on their first possession. They kicked a field goal. Then they scored on their Oh, it must have been the Cincinnati game because Cincinnati had the ball for so long. And, but essentially, they were scoring on their possessions, but I'm like, yeah, but dude, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Then the second half happened and that turned the season around and the offense did start flying and the ball was soaring and the numbers in the air were magnificent. But my point is, the passing game hasn't tickled my undercarriage the way that I thought it would when the season began. Quite frankly, this is a defensive-led team. This team is about the defense, and it's about the run game. I didn't think that would be who we are when the season began. Now, to be fair, I don't care how you get it done. I care that you get it done. And if the team starts to blend in a way where maybe it's not what you thought it would be, well, the last thing I want you to do is try and fit a square peg into a round hole. Be what makes sense. And if the passing game is not what it's supposed to be because maybe the quarterback has uncomfortable games, like he could ball. I've been on these pod saying, Jalen Hurts is playing like an MVP again. Jalen Hurts is throwing the rock like a superstar again. And he has that. The problem is, I don't think it's consistent every single week, and I don't think it's consistent half to half. He'll have, you don't deserve to be a starter half, followed by, oh my God, you are the greatest. Wow. Right? That's the second half. They're a second half team. If it happens to fall on a day where we know what we're getting from Saquon in the run game, we know the defense is spectacular, and it's the QB being magnificent, you won't be stopped. If it's a day where the quarterback is you still may not be able to stop this team because of Saquon and the run game and the defense. But yeah, it's not what I thought it would be. But I feel so strongly about the will and determination and the I'm not going to be denied attitude from Saquon that in a weird way, that may be enough. What is the separator, though, in all this is the turnover with Jalen. If he's constantly turning the ball over, then yes, that opens up the door for it being too much for even the running back to handle and the offensive line. I've seen them win those games, though, against Green Bay, week 1, in Brazil, awkward spot to be in. They still found a way then, so it's still very possible. He was bad against the Commanders, but didn't turn the rock over. Low bar, but he didn't put the ball in harm's way. Someone mentioned that on the Anytime Hotline with one of the calls, and I kind of poo-pooed it because, that's not the standard for me. That's not where I reflect back on how my quarterback played, and I said, at least he didn't turn it over. No, it was bad. He was bad. But I will say, him being bad and turning the rock over is significantly worse. But that is definitely what I think can swing this one way or the other, is if he's given the ball to the other team. But anyway, I guess to summarize the 12 minutes of whatever you want to call that segment, I felt like I just rambled. The moral of the story is the next layer and the next wave of the identity, because we're 10 games in, and it's all about you figuring out what style your team plays. And offensively speaking, this is a team that is held together by Saquon Barkley. And that's why I feel as confident as I do. You could give him the rock in a world where he is set up to fail. All right? There's so many defenders in his face, and he picks up 26 yards. It's what he does. He's almost a get-out-of-jail-free card. Like, I remember when they weren't making sense, but they were winning, and I was getting aggravated because I said, look, I can't sit here and go Super Bowl contender because they're getting bailed out by Saquon Barkley. He's bailing you out. You don't deserve to win. And him and AJ, in a way, are both collectively bailing you out. That's not enough. But now that I see the level that he does it, and the defense is spectacular, maybe him bailing you out is enough.